It says we're live.
We
It's
are.
been too fucking long,
It's been way
Craig.
too long. I know, and I apologize.
No, like you haven't been putting out content. I haven't been putting out content.
You've been
For
putting
a
out more
second-
content than me. You've uploaded, I think, 2 videos since my last video. So
And you know what was really weird was it yesterday? Out of nowhere, there was like a small flurry of activity. Flurry for my channel, right?
yeah.
That would like comments and views, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening? I didn't put out a new video. What the?"
Yeah.
I literally gained 3 subscribers without putting out content in 3 weeks. And every time I put out content, I lose subscribers.
Hey, you know what? Maybe you've just come up in the algorithmic list of things to promote.
Someone was telling me that that's actually being properly repaired. And one of the videos that was getting views was the one I called Lytton, about that town in BC, about
Yeah.
2,000 people that burned down, with that doctor saying he had all this information about people having seriously negative side effects from the vaccines, right?
Yeah.
And I guess people are starting to hear about that town and hear about that doctor because he's been making the rounds. Dr. Hoff, I believe his name is.
I have not heard this. You're going to have to educate me on this.
So yeah, where do I start?
You made a video about it, is that right?
Yeah. First, because
I'm sure I watched it. Maybe I fell asleep while I watched it. I'm sorry, and that's nothing to say to you, but I'm having this habit now, where if I'm in a too reclined position while watching YouTube, I just fall asleep. And it doesn't matter what I'm watching or how interested I'm in, I just fall asleep.
And for some, apparently, my voice is quite calming and soothing.
You do have a very calming manner of voice, man.
And can just lull you off to sleep, you know?
That's it. You should do ASMR videos.
So July 1st, I'm pretty sure it was Canada Day. That's why it stuck out. A town in Canada burned to the ground. Do you remember this? Wildfires, they said.
Okay.
Lytton, BC hit like 49.5 degrees Celsius and just burned to the ground. It's one of the hottest places in the country, even though it's actually quite far north.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered why it sounded familiar. And I went scrolling back through some stuff I had saved and found this letter from the clinic in Lytton that said Dr. Hoff has been struggling trying to get the attention of Health Canada and whatever BC's health provincial thing is called, that all of these people in this town are suffering from terrible side effects, including Bell's palsy, worse versions of palsies where they're losing control of lots of their body and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Some people died, and that was only like maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to the town burning down.
Weird. Sounds like a conspiracy to me.
Well, I mean, apparently Amazing Polly did some coverage on this. Someone, like, the comments I was getting were all over the place, which is good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that kind of, like, as much information as possible. And like, just recently I was told, Lytton actually has a history of burning down, but they gave me 1931 and 1935 or something, right? You would think if you know your town is prone to wildfires, you'd have a better sense of being able to
fight fires.
Yeah, or just like, build your town in such a way that if something catches fire, something else is far enough away that it's less likely to burn down.
Right.
But like the whole place apparently burned down in a few hours.
Wow.
Like it just left. And then someone
is it made of like balsa wood or something, or
I don't fucking know. But like, someone commented that there's footage of a train riding into the town center, like wherever they're on fire, that the train is on fire, but they didn't link to the video. So wow. I don't believe that. Right? It's like, okay, I get it. Most of our so-called wildfires are actually arson, but but anyway, Dr. Hoff is fine.
Yeah.
But the reason it stuck out to me is because the town is only like a few hundred people, and there's a lot of surrounding like farmland and reserves that makes up a total of about 1,900 people that rely on the town for its medical center. 1,900, 2,000 people, that's the perfect sample size in a study, right? 40 people is too small. Millions and millions of people is too big. You can't track all the information. You can't correct for everybody's medical histories and stuff. So like the way they've given out the vaccine to so many, it masks any negative effects, right?
Right.
But yeah, that was ridiculous. And I imagine
how many cases with side effects in this small little community?
I think it was in the realm of like somewhere between 5 and 10%.
Wow.
Of people, right? And the thing is, because it's such a small place, it's going to be rather tight knit. And the doctors are the same doctors that are there from people knowing them from birth to sometimes as far as death. They're going to know this person didn't have any underlying conditions. Why did they have this, right? This person isn't suffering from something. How did they, have a heart attack and die? Well, how did they get blood clots? It's not like a 35-year-old woman who smokes on birth control, right? And then AstraZeneca. Okay, yeah, all those risks combined. It's like, no, that's just some dude who dropped dead.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I wonder, given that it's a rural community, probably generational, meaning there's multiple generations in the same town. If there might be some sort of genetic marker that makes this particular segment of the population prone to complications for one reason or another.
Maybe, yeah. See, I don't know, but no one in like the correct scientific or academic fields is even giving this guy time of day.
No, because it's not in keeping with Klaus Schwab's plans. That's all.
Oh fuck. Yeah, so let's see if I can pull that one up then, eh? No, he just like Dr. Hoff has now been making his rounds through whoever will host them, basically. Like, what are we doing? There we go. Return to Narnia. And it's just, what do I have to do? Share. I forgot how to use this thing. That's how long it's bloody.
I know, right?
Yeah, so there we go. Klaus Schwab. The brainwashed would still claim the Great Reset is a conspiracy theory, whilst Klaus smacks them in the face with his book, The Great Reset.
Yeah, COVID-19 and the Great Reset. Yeah.
Klaus Anal Schwab. Yeah, that's...
I'm making a prediction. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat, make a prediction. The next big crisis that's going to be pushing the Great Reset along is going to be a cyber attack or cyber virus that is going to affect the world money supply. It's going to affect debt. It's going to affect savings. It's going to affect everybody. Hi, Rose. And it's going to prompt the great economic reset, where they're just going to say, sorry, it's infected all accounts and all systems of commerce. We're just going to have to start over. And that's what's going to happen. And then the money's not going to be worth a damn. It's all going to be based on some sort of like global credit system. And you're not going to be able to own property unless you have oodles of money in this global credit system. And of course, the only people who have oodles of money in the global credit system were people who had oodles of money in the old system. So regular working people are never going to own land, never going to own property.
If we're starting over, though, how are they going to have money still? Like, if everything's infected, well, what stocks you own and how much they were worth?
Hey, man, you're asking logical questions. Like, how are masks that, have gaps of larger than viral microns protecting us from viruses? But no, here's the thing. They don't need a sound reason or a sound excuse for doing it. All they need to do is make people panic and worry about their savings and worry about their economic future. And lo and behold, they have the solution. And it doesn't matter if the solution is grounded in, sound economics or economic theory. It'll probably be some sort of blockchain, some sort of government-run blockchain cryptocurrency. It won't be a cryptocurrency. It will be centralized. So it won't be a proper cryptocurrency. They've got to be decentralized in order for them to work like Bitcoin. And yeah, that's what I predict is going to happen. And then, of course, the different economic authorities are going to go after, the other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and basically try and take them out completely. Bitcoin, I think, is one of these things that is kind of immune. I don't think it can be stopped. People will be engaging in the regular, above board market with whatever the global cryptocurrency is or global electronic currency is. And then people who, like freedom and don't want to play that game are going to be dealing in Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptocurrencies like it. That's my prediction. Anyway, we'll see. I've been right about a few things. I predicted Trump's election in 2016. So
that prediction sounds like a dangerous conspiracy theory, Craig.
Probably.
Why is that flickering like that?
Because you want to give me epilepsy?
Let me stop murdering the epileptics and try that again. There we go.
All right.
2020, anyone claiming there will be a vaccination passport is a conspiracy theorist and their dangerous misinformation must be stopped. 2021, anyone opposed to a vaccination passport is a conspiracy theorist and their dangerous misinformation must be stopped.
The chocolate ration has been increased to 20 milligrams or 20 grams or whatever. Yeah.
It's mind-boggling to me. I mean, it's not even mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how many people don't see it. That the people who were, during Trump's election run and his presidency were like, oh, we're all for diversity and inclusion. And that means we have to punch Nazis, are now overlapping with the group of people newly emerging saying, we need a segregated society. Papers, please.
Yep. Where's your vaccination passport? You're not getting on this flight.
We tried to fucking tell them. You're not the good guys.
No. The thing is, like, they haven't got the uniforms yet, though, right?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, okay, so you can always tell the bad guy in any story by who has the better uniforms, the Nazis, the stormtroopers. Antifa's uniforms, I think, aren't very good. And, but what do I know? Have you seen this after school video?
This which one?
There's a YouTube channel called After School. They spell school with a K, and it's called Mass Psychosis: How an Entire Population Becomes Mentally Ill.
You sent it to me, and
yeah,
I
Did you watch it.
Yeah, it was incredible.
It's really good. Actually, Luke Rakowski on We Are Change, he actually, he plays a snippet of like normally a comedy piece before each of his videos. Well, he played a snippet of that. I'm like, wow, that's, so this is making the rounds. It was only made or uploaded on August 3rd, but I'm seeing it more and more. And I mean, like, it crystallizes everything that we're going through right now so perfectly. And I feel like sending to my father-in-law because a week ago we were over there for dinner, and we had a bit of a row, my father-in-law and myself. He kept going back to this. So you want people to be able to go out there and kill people? I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I think that people need to be free to make their own decisions and free to make their own health decisions. So you think people should be able to kill other people? I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm like, look, we have the fact that we live in a free society means that you're going to have to live with the fact that people are going to do things that you don't agree with. And you're just going to have to live with that fact unless you don't want to live in a free society. And he wouldn't see we eventually sort of reached common ground and calmed down, but it was one of these blown up, real big sort of blowout fights because he takes great offense to being disagreed with, and he raises his voice and his blood starts to boil. And then, of course, I get my back up, and because we're both, cis white males, we're both toxic, and we have to, assert our dominance, right?
Man, Did you hit him with the "I can't kill you with a virus I don't have"?
Well, it's not that. It's just that he's talking about the stupid, like, here's one of the points I raised to him, and it took a while to get there. So he was trying to say, "What are you talking about? This has nothing to do with what we're talking about." So, long story short, my wife's father and her, like, the family moved from Quebec to Ontario back when the language laws basically came into full force. They had a business in Quebec, and it became very arduous for English speakers in Quebec to try and run a business, send their kids to school, that kind of thing, right? So he said, enough of this, I'm leaving. And because I said because I was basically making the point, it sounds to me like you want authoritarianism. And it all started from me talking about how Australia is rolling out the military to patrol the streets and keep people off the streets. And I said, you don't think that's a little bit authoritarian? He's like, no. I'm like, the military roaming the streets. Well, yeah, but people aren't listening. I'm like, no. But the point is, people shouldn't have to be forced to stay in their homes. Yeah, but people don't listen, and some people are just stupid. And this is where I'm like, okay, why did you leave Quebec? He's like, well, what does that have to do with anything? I said, why did you leave Quebec back in the 1970s or 80s, whatever? He's like, because of the language laws. And and I said, so basically the government was being authoritarian in how they were forcing people to conduct their daily lives. It's like, no, it wasn't authoritarian, but they're basically treating English speakers as second-class citizens. I'm like, see, here's the point. The way you're talking right now, you want to treat people who don't vaccinate or who are skeptical of vaccines, who are skeptical of the the information being put out by the virus, or skeptical of authority with regards to the virus. You want to treat them like they're second-class citizens. So they're no different than what you went through in Quebec. He's like, but people are dying. I'm like, yes, people are dying. A small percentage of people are dying who have comorbidities and are at risk of getting sick, dreadfully sick. But most people aren't dying. Most people are coming out of it. The survival rate, it's, this was long established, long ago, but it was never talked about. Like, at the early days, they were like, how deadly is this going to be? But as the months wore on, and we realized, okay, well, the recovery rate and the survival rate is surpassing the death rate. So, yeah, okay, the infections are, it's very, communicable. It's very, it spreads very easily. And so the case rates are climbing, but what's the death rate? The death rate is less than 1% in most segments of the population, and roughly more than 1% in a very small segment of the population. Why then are we doing this? Oh, you just want grandma to die. This is where the mass psychosis comes in. People don't care about reasonable arguments because they're being inundated constantly with all this, fear-mongering, semi-pertinent information that changes day by day, and they're just confused, and they just want someone to tell them how to live, and they just want someone to tell them, what to do, and they don't want to take any pushback from anybody who has a reasonable question about this. And if they do have a reasonable question about this, the media, the government, they're vilifying them, even though they say they're not vilifying them. They're vilifying them, and they're making them be second-class citizens. And it's like, it's this mass psychosis we're living in. We got a couple of comments. Sorry, I've been ranting here.
No, it's all good. Yeah, just hello to everyone. Thanks for coming. It's been too long. Sorry about that. Sorry we're not getting at every comment. I mean, I put a couple up, but yeah, Costin, good to see you. Rose, hello. Oh yeah, and Honk Loretta, if you're still around. A couple of people have been in and out.
Jeezy, you don't trust a company that tried to sell carfentanil, the opioid that is 10,000 times stronger than morphine? You're a conspiracy nut. Yeah, I saw something about all of the things that, Johnson and Johnson and these other Pfizer and these other, pharmaceutical companies are guilty of, and lying about it. Yeah. And so the fact that people aren't giving some sort of sympathy or, nodding their head in partial agreement to people say, I don't know, man, this isn't FDA approved yet. I don't really would trust it. I'll wait until it's FDA approved before I take the vaccine. Oh, you're a conspiracy nut. They've been poisoning people with baby powder for 50 fucking years, and they kept it quiet. All right, there's carcinogens in baby powder that were probably sprinkled all over my ass when I was a kid. And I mean, well, I don't breathe through my ass, so it doesn't matter. But my mom had to breathe that in. Lucky she didn't get emphysema or some shit. But anyway,
Benzene in
you
the
know, they
sun.
lie constantly, and they sue people to continue to lie. And it's only when they're brought out, when it comes out, that they settle out of court to keep it hush so that nobody can talk about it. So
Well,
no, I don't trust them. And I don't
No,
trust them when they say you're going to need a booster every year, because to me that just sounds like a ching money grab.
yeah, absolutely. And like this whole concept of trust the experts, trust the science. Uh, it's trust is the opposite of science, right? The whole point of science is to try and disprove every little thing.
Right.
And like trust the experts. Our experts went to court, stood in front of Congress repeatedly to defend the use of asbestos, to defend the tobacco companies. Like what?
Which
This is where we are right now. We
which
don't have
expert
enough.
do you want me to trust? Because there's plenty of experts who give a counter argument. Plenty of people in the medical field who have said, "Look, this isn't as bad as they've been saying it is, and we need to really get a rational point of view on this and have a discussion about what has been done." There's going to be lockdowns in the fall, I'm sure of it, and everybody that I'm seeing, you know, talk about it casually in media are just accepting it. And the fact that people aren't going, fuck that, we're not doing that again, is really, really disheartening to me.
I mean, this is where we are. We're at the beginning phase where, you know what, the information coming out is not entirely clear, but it seems to be trending one way. That you have these people saying, no, it's fine. The vaccine is fine, and Corona is going to kill you. It's like more information we get, the more it's building up, the more it's rolling forward.
Yeah.
It's going to be just like asbestos and tobacco companies, where it's like it will be undeniable, and you all will fucking hang.
Well, let's hope, right? But I mean, the thing is, nobody's holding China to account. As a matter of fact, China's, you know, still Beijing Biden's best buddy. But I think it's going to be one of these things where it's going to take a long, drawn out course through the courts, through public opinion, through brave people standing up and taking some of these companies to court. Even though, I mean, here's the thing: they have these liability waivers with regards to the vaccines because they were rolled out as an emergency treatment. But the fact of the matter is, waivers are only as good as the paper they're printed on, right? Like, if you can show that somebody is liable, it doesn't matter what waiver they were given, it doesn't matter what immunity they were given. The Congress, the government, what have you, does not have the power to take away your right to sue another company. They can't just grant blanket immunity to somebody.
Right.
You know, they don't diplomatic immunity because they're from another country. No, if somebody can make a case and get it to the court, it'll go through the court. Then they'll be sued out the wazoo, or they'll have to settle out of court, class action law. They really should be. If something, I mean, we're talking ifs here, right? If in 10 years they realize that the spike proteins in the Pfizer vaccine collecting in the bone marrow and in the ovaries of women has led to leukemia and uterine cancer and cervical cancer, if they can prove that, right, then there will be lawsuits and they will lose. But it's going to be a long haul. Think of how long it took them to get tobacco companies to admit that cigarettes were, you know, bad for you.
Yeah, we're looking at what, 30, 40 years, right?
Exactly. You and I are going to be, you know, in our old age home, you know, rolling polyhedral dice and playing Dungeons and Dragons instead of Pinochle. And we're going to, before it actually all comes out, it'll be 30, 40 years, maybe a little bit less, but I'm saying no less than a decade, more likely 2.
I'm going to be in prison.
Why would you be in prison?
What do you mean? Because they're going to arrest me for not getting my vaccine.
Oh, you haven't got your vaccine?
No.
Okay.
How the fuck am I going to get this vaccine? I'm immune.
No, you're a young man. You're healthy.
No, not even that.
You are a smoker. You are a smoker.
And nicotine-rich environments are apparently terrible for this particular
for viruses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What do you call it? PG. Polyethyl glycol, I think it is, or polyethyl glycerin. Polyethyl glycol is a inoculant to viral pneumonia. So I'm safe. This is a cure for COVID right here, folks. Vape, and you won't get COVID. Oh, excuse me. That's disgusting.
Disclaimer: nothing on this show should be taken as medical advice.
Yes, it should. I'm a doctor.
We are not experts. We're just
doctor.
some assholes. All right. But this Ajax, good to see you. This vax mandates are racist. Majority of unvaxxed in the U.S. are minorities. This will be the real Jim Crow 2.0. I agree with the last part. I mean, the first part may be true. I don't know that it's racist. I do know that, yes, they're calling for a segregated society based on this. And it'll come to a point where, like the way you're talking about your father-in-law, you just want people to die. Well, we're going to all have to be shoved into fucking ghettos like the Jews in Germany. And that's the only place that the unvaccinated are going to be allowed to, go to work and do business. Only with each other. Only within the walled ghettos.
Well, somebody posted something on Facebook about that. Lauren Chen actually posted something about Facebook. It was like basically, the 3-step process to, living in a free state. So yeah, they will segregate us. We'll all join in free areas and conduct business the way we want. Won't wear masks. We'll take our health considerations on our own behalf, and we'll live carefree lives. And voila, we've got a libertarian utopia. Balkanized in a tiny section of Canada or a tiny section of the United States. But hey, it'll be great. Where all these fucking chowderheads are walking around with masks on indefinitely, and getting a booster shot every year for a virus that they're probably never going to get. And if they do get, they're not gonna get deathly ill from it. I'd still like to know what the lethality rate of influenza is versus COVID-19.
It's hard to say, and actually, hello, Pox. Hello, Irate.
Oh, yeah.
Let me pull up one of those images that I had there. This would. Oh, I didn't send it. I didn't pull it. Okay, talk for a second while I find it.
So yeah, if you haven't seen this video, it's from a YouTube channel called After School. It's called I had it open here. Mass psychosis. Mass psychosis, how an entire population becomes mentally ill. It's worth watching if you haven't seen it yet. After School is channel. You know what? I'm just gonna post the link in the chat, and then y'all can check it out. Check it out. Oh, you know what? I can't post it in StreamYard. I have to go to our stream here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Should make you a manager or something. Fuck. I've got to get it from my bloody phone like a loser. Yeah, no, because I just came across something that I found fairly interesting. There it is.
Watch it later. Don't watch it now. Watch this live stream, then watch it later.
Yeah. Continue to watch this. Believe me, this is actually easier and faster than emailing shit to myself.
Hey, I just watched a really cool... Oh, you sent it to me. That's fine. I just watched a really cool movie on YouTube, of all places, called My Friend Dahmer. Have you seen this video, this movie?
No.
It's like a full-length feature movie. It's like an indie movie about a kid who went to high school with Jeffrey Dahmer and how, he was in high school. And it follows Dahmer. It's not about this kid. It's about Dahmer. But it's basically told about his high school years and how he was a total fucking freak in high school too. Anyway, it's worth watching. It's really disturbing. Like he's a fucked up.
Sounds
a fucked up kid. But yeah, if you get a chance, it's on YouTube for free. You can watch it without paying for it. It's just called My Friend Dahmer.
My Friend Dahmer. Okay.
Yeah, I've been getting into all this true crime shit, which may be why my mental state is getting so bad. Really, I don't know what it is, but I've been just really, really depressed, and it maybe have to do with the fact that I'm seeing all the worst aspects of humanity. True crime is really interesting, but it's like a rabbit hole, man. You can go down and you just get fucking ugh. You see the ugliness of things.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, no. Just remember that's not the majority of people, and you'll be okay.
No, I know, but the fact that there are even, you know, a minority of people who are capable of some of the shit that people do, it's just fucking depressing.
We're animals, man.
You're monkeys.
So this was something I was trying to look up some numbers, do some comparisons, and I did come across this. This is deaths in Canada since 2011.
This is all deaths.
Yeah. So if you look at the trend, right, 2011, 245,000. 2012, there's a drop, 242,000. 2013 is up again by about 9,000. Then 2014 is only up 2,000. But then there's a 13,000
spike.
Yeah, spike into 2015. A drop again in 2016, but then a solid 12,000 jump for 2017. A solid 9,000 jump for 2018. Only a 6,000 jump in 2019, and then 2020, the year of COVID, there's a 13,000 point jump.
So roughly speaking, we're upper plus or minus an extra 1,000. And my guess is 2021, it'll probably go back to the 2,000-3,000 spike, or a drop,
I don't know. What I do know is that the 13,000 doesn't seem out of the ordinary just in this small chart.
No.
Right? Our population has been steadily growing this whole time, so more deaths are sort of expected.
Right.
I imagine we could attribute the dips every once in a while to a whole bunch of people who made it to real old, all died last year.
Yeah.
So when they show us those charts of the excess deaths by week, what's that compared to? Is that compared to like an average? Is that compared to just last year?
Right.
Because just looking at
what I assume when they say excess deaths by week, they're talking specifically about COVID deaths, are they not? Or they're just talking about all deaths?
They're talking about all deaths, that this is too many people died, more than what was expected. But I mean, did we expect 13,000 more between 2014 and 2015? Right. Why didn't somebody panic?
What happened in 2014, 2015? Was that MERS or SARS or?
Not that I'm aware. No one ever made a fuss about any of it. And considering
no, of course not, because it was too early for the Great Reset.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Here's what happened. In 2016, Donald Trump was elected against all expectations. He was a fucking joke. He was a meme, right? Nobody expected him to be. And when he was primed to win in 2020, and they knew he was going to win in 2020, they pulled out all the fucking stops. They said, we got to escalate the Great Reset now, because if he gets back in, he's going to put a complete halt to it, and it'll never fucking happen. So the party of Davos and the Illuminati and everybody else, they all got to the Freemasons and the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. They all got together and they said, okay, here's our plan. We're going to release a virus. We're going to make a virus, and we're going to steal the election. And we're going to put in a guy who we know we can push around because he doesn't know where he is half the time. And then we can roll out the Great Reset like we've always planned to do.
But getting back to these numbers, there was also like a huge spike in opioid overdoses in Canada, suicides in Canada, and murders. So of the 13,000 jump, and I mean, you expect that number to increase with population regularly. How many of those 13,000 more than last year or the year prior were opioid, suicide, and murder? And then why do we think 30,000 people died of COVID when 0 people died of flu? At least 6,000 to 8,000 of those people died of flu.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Absolutely.
This idea that
when you consider also the symptoms of flu and symptoms of COVID are almost a complete overlap.
Well, shit, literally anything is fucking COVID. If you have a headache, it's COVID. If you're constipated, it's COVID. You got the runs, it's COVID.
Your gallbladder inflamed, COVID.
You had COVID of the gallbladder.
Oh, you sleep apnea, COVID.
All like Demolition Man.
Yeah.
All illness is COVID now. there's like, it's ridiculous. It's fucking insanity. And even if you go to like say Worldometers and you trust their numbers implicitly,
I don't.
right?
I
Sure.
don't trust any of the numbers. They're all in on it. They're all in on the Great Reset. They're gonna. Well, you heard about how Florida was being, excoriated because DeSantis. Here's the thing: DeSantis is probably going to be the next Republican nominee for president.
Yeah.
And he's got a very good chance of winning. And if Biden is out and he goes up against Kamala, he's a shoo-in. Nobody likes Kamala. DeSantis is hugely popular with moderates and with the rank and file Floridian, right? So they've been basically saying, look what he's done. He's opened up his state, and now everybody is the death rates and the case rates in Florida are higher than any other state. Blah 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 blah. Well, now it turns out we found out just a few days ago that those numbers were wrong. They were actually overestimated. They were over-reported. There weren't as many cases or deaths related to COVID in Florida in the preceding weeks. But anytime he has a good week, they have to try and fucking take him down a peg because they don't want another Trump. And, there's an argument to be made that DeSantis is more Trump than Trump was. He's more, he's more a populist than Trump was. But we'll see. He's also more a career politician than Trump was. So.
Yeah. That, but he's just been taking his physical gestures and making sure that he gets his point across.
You have to talk with your hands. You have to talk with your hands. It's part of politicking.
But very, very specifically, the Trump hand movements. Yeah.
As long as he doesn't do this. If he doesn't do that, he'll be safe. They'll say he's a white supremacist. Yeah.
And it's just, on the other hand, I every once in a while reach out to Governor Abbott of Texas and say, hey, would you be willing and at what point to accept Canadians as refugees?
Yeah. Yeah. As long as I don't settle anywhere near Austin, I think I'll be fine. Because Austin's it's nuts. It's fucking nuts. It's like Portland, for Christ's sakes. It's like a dry heat Portland.
I've got my eye on a medium city called Odessa.
Oh, Odessa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that in the Ukraine? Isn't there an Odessa in the Ukraine?
Yes. Are you a fan of Heroes? The television show Heroes?
Oh, yeah. I like the first season, yeah.
Yeah, first season's one of the best things to ever grace television.
Odessa, Texas. That's where the cheerleader was from, right?
Claire Bennett. Yeah. Save the cheerleader, save the world. She's from Odessa.
It's fun. She was on Conan, right? Conan O'Brien at one point. I think it was Conan O'Brien, and she made mention that she had turned 18 because she was still young when she was doing that show.
Yeah.
And she's, I turned 18. Yay, I can buy porn legally now. And apparently that was the worst thing she could have said on TV because people started sending her piles and piles of porn.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, that's fucking, you'd never get away with that now. You'd never get away with that now. You would be fucking locked up. You'd be on a sex offenders list somewhere. But she was a cutie though. Like, I mean, can you blame anybody? Such a cutie.
Oh anyway. Yeah, no, she's my Claire Bear. Hayden Panettiere is my Claire Bear.
Yeah.
I heard she's recently single. She's no longer married to that giant boxer, one of the Klitschko's.
Well, just hope it was an amicable split if you're going to pursue her.
Nah, he's over the hill. I can take him.
You can take him, a boxer. Huh? Hey, I don't mean to question your fighting prowess, but I'm just thinking a guy who boxes professionally.
He's 6'9", 240 pounds. Like, no problem. I got this. I bite like it's fine.
There you go. Works for Tyson. Silent Walk, hey guys, what you drinking? Scotch, I think you're drinking Bearface, if I'm not mistaken.
I am drinking the only good thing in Canada.
Hey, wait a second. You and I are in Canada. We're good.
Yeah, but we don't want to be.
Well, that's funny. I'm talking about my father-in-law. He says, so what state do you think has done things right? And I'm like, well, Florida's been pretty good. He's like, are you kidding? Like, this is where he lost it because like their numbers are higher than anywhere. I'm like, well, they're higher than Ontario. I'm like, Yeah, but their population density is greater than ours. They also have an older population than we do. And yeah, there's people out there who aren't social distancing. So chances are that cases are going to go up. But so what? Oh, you want people to die? I'm like, oh, for Christ's sakes, enough with the hyperbole, man. Like, seriously, okay, you want to live in, she said, why don't you go live in Florida then? I'm like, well, why don't you go live in North Korea? You obviously want a dictatorship, so why don't you just go live in a dictatorship that's ready-made? I don't want that. I want Canadian dictatorship. That's what he said. He says, I want the authoritarianism we have in Canada. I don't want what they have in North Korea. But what's to stop Canada from going that route? We're already locking people up in their homes in Quebec at 8 o'clock. Like, what is to stop Australia from going the North Korea route? They've already got the military roaming the streets, keeping people in their homes. So, like, do you not see the disconnect here? Like, I don't know.
People in Canada don't seem to understand anymore the principle of freedom, right? That they somehow think that like universal health care and subsidized education are like the root of all good things. And it's
true. There was a shift in consciousness about the idea of rights, Irving, and it was basically people originally thought, the idea of rights is that you have the right to go about your business unmolested, not to be interfered with by government or anybody else. You have a right to be fair and honest treatment in your interactions with others, and the police and the judiciary are there. So when that doesn't happen, you have a recourse to sort it out. That's rights. You have the right to do what you want to do without being fucked with. People started getting universal health care and things like that, and they said these are now human rights. Being provided with medicine is a right. Being provided with housing is a right. Being provided with education is a right. Anything I want is a right. So the rights to choose your own path and chart your own destiny and eke out your own existence without being fucked with, that is passe. That's no longer a right. That's like you're selfish if you want that. If you want to take money from someone else's pocket to pay for universal health care, to pay for somebody else's operation, that's a right. It's a right to steal from somebody else to pay for someone's operation.
It's and they don't grasp that, like, oh, I take the bus to work because I don't have a car. My neighbor has 2 cars in the driveway, so I'll just take his car.
Right.
They know that that's wrong.
Right.
But if some other agent does it en masse for everybody, that's fine in their head.
And it's fair that way, right? It's fair when someone.
Well, it's no more or less fair than taking my neighbor's car because he's got 2 and I have none.
Well, there's a guy who there was a guy, I can't remember what his name was. He's a libertarian or a minarchist, if you want. I can't remember his name. Yeah, but he had this really, kind of hokey YouTube channel where he would go around, talk to politicians and talk to public speakers and ask them, do what he called a Socratic interview. And he went up and asked Bill Richardson of New Mexico. And he said, can a person bestow a right on a citizen that he himself does not possess? And Bill Richardson, I think he was either feigning ignorance or he simply didn't understand the question.
I literally don't, but go on.
So, well, can a person say, okay, I don't have this right, but I'm going to give that right to you so you can exercise that right on my behalf? That's essentially what we do with government. We say, okay, I don't have the right to take money out of your wallet, Irving, but I can empower that guy to take the money out of your wallet. Even though I don't have the right to do it, I can say he does. And that's basically what he was asking. And of course, Bill Richardson is a politician. So of course, either he's feigning ignorance or what have you. But he basically had to sort of drag it out and say, look, what I'm getting at is how is it that you can have the right, if you don't have the right to take my property, you can say that someone else does have the right to take my property on your behalf. So the question is, can a citizen bestow a right on somebody else that he himself does not possess? And morally, intellectually, philosophically, the answer is no, you can't. Then whence cometh taxes, right? But we all know where that came.
Well, all taxation is theft. But
It is.
I want to address this. Jeezy says, if you move to Odessa, you don't got to worry. We throw 45 caliber punches in America. And I just realized this man fleshed out what is for me my American dream: to move to Texas, marry Hayden Panettiere, and shoot a fucking Klitschko. Thank you, Jeezy.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
I have goals
He has
now.
another comment as well. Well, there's a few more comments. Silent Walk. Yeah, I'll let you do them because it's your live stream.
Oh, I'll pull them up. Yeah, no, here. Florida was a setup for an example. Everything's done for a reason, no doubt. I need a little punctuation, please. But judging by some of the misspellings, I'm pretty sure Silent Walk's been drinking a little more than I have right now. So all's forgiven. Canadians need a wake-up call, and they're going to get kicked.
There's your punctuation.
Yeah.
You asked for some punctuation. There you go.
That'll do. Jeezy, rights only exist because a handful of rich white men in America decided it was cheaper to go to war with the British than pay for taxes on their tea.
A bit of an oversimplification, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Mm.
Oh, Pox has got something to tell you.
Oh yeah, no. we were making all kinds of jokes about this the other day. My newly single sister, yeah. Hit up Pox Toxic and maybe we can get a family discount on green cards, right? That'll be. I'm all for it.
I can't move to the
my
US.
head.
I'm sorry. As much as I'd love to move to the US, one, my wife would never have it. And two, how can I very well be Canada man if I'm living in Miami-Dade County?
You know what?
Walk around in red and white tights with a maple leaf all over me?
Yeah.
No.
Straight.
No. In Florida, I mean, in Florida, I'd actually probably be pretty well received because there's a lot of Canadians in Florida. But no, I think I'd rather do it here in Canada. I wish Canada were more like Florida. Have you seen that shirt that Luke Rudkowski wears? Make America Florida?
No, but that's great.
The shirt says Make America Florida. I'm like, yes.
I just if I moved to Texas, I would totally do everything I could to embrace the Texas ways, like West Texas, Odessa. Like
you wear
a
cowboy hat.
Maybe if that's what people did in Odessa, sure.
Yeah, wear a cowboy hat. Get yourself some leather and get yourself a cowboy gun.
What are grits? I'll find out, right?
I think it's like a runny oatmeal, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll eat it every day if they'll accept me as a Texan. Except the problem is
there's some Americans. There's some Americans in the thing. What are grits? Does somebody in the chat know what grits are? I don't want to Google it. I could Google it easily enough, but I don't want to.
I'll take part in everything they do, but when winter comes in West Texas and it drops to like 16 degrees Celsius, and I'm out there in a t-shirt and everyone else is wearing their like big coats. Yeah, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm from Canada. I was born in Canada, right?
There you go.
I'm a Texan now. Yeah. And they'll think it's kitschy and cool and fun.
I think I'd be willing to move. I wouldn't mind living in Texas. I don't know what there is to do in Texas for me. I like Florida because I like the theme parks. Now, if I have to wear a mask to go to Disney World or Universal, then I'm gonna like it a lot less. But also Melina's folks have a house in Florida, so moving there would not be a big stretch for us.
Yo, get in there. Yeah, like fuck. And what's there for you to do in Texas? I'm pretty sure Texas.
Shoot guns. I can shoot guns. I know.
No, but I mean, for work and life, I'm pretty sure Texas is about as populous as Canada. Anything you can do in Canada, you can do in Texas.
It's true.
There's room for it. The market's big.
I have a feeling with all the people working from home now, with all the remote telecommuting or whatever you want to call it, online workforce, they're going to start lifting restrictions on where they're going to hire people from. Because right now, I have to live in Ontario to work in my office, but there's no reason why I couldn't live rurally in Ontario.
True. But like again, tax-wise, you have to live in the province that you're working and not pay taxes to some other province for working in it.
No, I get that.
Yeah,
no, I understand that. But I mean, like if I were living in the United States, but I was gaining an income from a Canadian employer, I'd have to file taxes in Canada, right? because the numbers,
Yeah.
the dollars have to be converted into US dollars for me to live. Right. So I probably have to pay taxes in both places. But
Oh, thank you, AJ. Ground
what's
hominy
a
cornmeal,
ground?
similar to polenta but served loose. Yeah,
What's
sounds.
what's hominy? What's hominy?
Uh, I understand cornmeal,
Me
cornbread,
too.
and
I know
polenta
cornmeal, but
being Italian, right?
what's hominy cornmeal?
No idea. Is that the high end cornmeal? If I know, but I mean, I know what polenta is, right? Basically, Italian take on cornbread.
I'm not a fan of polenta or cornbread, really. I don't mind cornbread, but I don't like it.
I love fresh cornbread, man. Like right out of
Really?
the
I
oven,
find
still
it too
warm.
gritty. I just, you know what? I like my, I don't know. It's
Did
like
you
a spongy, gritty thing, and I'm not a
did you
fan.
smear butter on it while it was still
Yeah, but
warm?
I mean, then you're just hiding the texture of the
Oh no,
cornbread.
you're adding the flavor and moisture to the texture.
I
That's
guess. I guess.
you got to combine them
You know
all.
what? They used to have Roasters, Kenny Rogers Roasters chicken in my hometown, and they served it with cornbread. And actually, their cornbread was good, probably because they were tiny little things, and you could like pop them in your mouth and be done with
Mm.
it.
Yo,
Y'all would never survive Kentucky.
that's because I can't live in a house made entirely of doors, Pox. That is a real thing.
A house made entirely of doors.
Yep.
Oh fuck!
Oh yeah.
I don't like corrugated steel houses.
Oh man. I gotta grab a pop. I'll be right back.
It's all good. Wow, so we got a fair bit of interaction here today in this chat. How many people are watching? We got 7 watching now. Well, that's great. Folks, I don't know what to do with this stream. I should probably just tell dirty little secrets about Irving while he's gone. Oh, he's back.
I'm back, you fucker. No, and you know what? They seem to have missed us. We peaked at 10. People have been in and out, and I missed them. I missed you.
I missed you too, man. This has been really good. Just being able to talk to you for a bit, because I can't talk to anybody about my things, my worries and my concerns about the world. The only person I can talk to is you, because none of my friends, they don't get it. They're all fucking normies and they drive me nuts. I love my friends, don't get me wrong, but having a conversation with them about this stuff, it never goes anywhere. It always comes around to me, basically shutting my mouth and not wanting to cause a fight. For whatever reason, that doesn't seem to happen with my father-in-law. It always turns into a fight. But it may be because we either have a mutual respect or a mutual disdain for one another. It's one or the other.
I've got a secret cabal at work of people who quietly are like planning dissent. Like, this isn't going to happen. No, we're not taking part of this.
What, like, dissent against what, though? Dissent against
like we're all aware of the vaccine passports. We're all aware of the like imminent threat that companies, provinces, nations are going to say, you have to get the vaccine or you can't go to work.
Right.
I'm the only one 100% committed to just showing up to work.
Yeah.
Right. If they say, hey, look, you need to get a vaccine, I'll say, no, thank you. And I'll show up to work the next day. And if they tell me I can't be there, I'll say, you don't like it, call a cop. Right? Because I've got to put them in that position that you have to see how ridiculous this is. I'm not sick. I'm not threatening to do something to another person.
You want to kill people, Irving.
And it's going to be on you to call a cop because I went to work. Yeah. Right? Not because I didn't comply with this. It's because I'm there. Yeah. I showed up ready to work and I'm working. I'm doing my job.
Yeah. Unless you fire me. What they'll probably do is that we'll just fire you if you refuse to get the vaccine.
I'll take
the
severance.
And then you have a wrongful dismissal case.
Yes, yeah. And this also...
Because I guarantee you these policies they're going to put in place won't pass constitutional muster.
I also have a religious exemption. Basically, every person everywhere has some kind of exemption because it's not on anyone else to have the power over me to tell me what I must put in my body.
Right.
Right? There is no thing that you can make me put in my body against my will. That's why rape is wrong.
It's also why abortion is wrong, but we can stay off that topic.
Wow.
It's a third rail.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that eventually, right? But yeah, like so even at that point then, because I have a religious exemption, you would not be firing me because I'm not getting vaccinated. You'd be firing me for my religious beliefs that prevent me from getting that vaccination, which is discrimination, you know? So not only would it be like wrongful dismissal, it would actually be a huge human rights violation. And I could sue not only for my job back and severance, but also for, you know, millions and millions and millions in damages.
I wonder if there's going to be a lot of converts to Jehovah's Witness. Where did I put that Kleenex? I'm bleeding on my foot here.
How the fuck did you do that? You haven't gone anywhere.
I was in Guelph a couple weeks back, and I got eaten alive by mosquitoes. And my problem is that I can't leave mosquito bites alone. So even when I scratch them constantly, so they scab over, and then I go and scratch the scabs, and then, you know, I bleed all over my fucking leg.
Wow, that's a lot of blood for a mosquito bite, buddy.
Well, no, it's not the mosquito bite itself; it's the scab, because it's really a disgusting habit that I.
And we just shot up to 13, so people just jumped in, listening
talk
to you
about
talk about bleeding out of your foot and showing blood.
We need more gore.
This is an interesting stream. Let's stick around and see what's
going on. The guy just showed his hands covered in blood.
Okay, Pox, what the fuck is Giada?
Get you some Giada. Sounds Italian.
Is that Kentucky cornbread? Is that? I don't fucking know.
Kentucky cottage cheese. I have no idea.
Yikes.
Bet the Doorhouse survives longer than you do. Shit.
The house made entirely of doors has been standing for like a decade.
Why is it made of doors? It was just slapped together with doors?
No idea. Yeah. Just old doors thrown together. But it's real.
They're a nice universal, you got a universal measurement. All doors are roughly the same size and shape. So you can plan your building pretty easily. Came for the talk, stayed for the blood. Glad I could help.
Cheers.
I don't know who Ori Nabisco is.
I've seen him around, you know, trolling our chat. Yeah,
that's cool.
But this is amazing. Thanks again, guys, everyone. This is wonderful.
Yeah, again, it's been good to talk to you.
Pronounce Geta and look it up. What the fuck?
Pronounce Geta. All right, I'll Google this shit.
All right.
Yeah, no response yet from Miss Tegan Osmond about joining us. She's obviously not listening.
That's understandable.
She got herself a little kid and she goes to bed early. So, Goetta.
So much hair.
Goetta is a meat and grain sausage or mush of German inspiration that is popular in Metro Cincinnati. It is primarily composed of ground meat, pinhead oats, and spices. You know what it sounds like? Creton. Creton.
What?
It sounds like creton.
What's creton?
It's a Quebec dish. It's kind of like it's like a meat pate paste that you put on toast with mustard. It's a breakfast pate. Yeah, it's really salty. Yeah. It's made of pork, I believe, and it's really good. I love it. When I go to Quebec, or when I go to Cora's, Cora's, that breakfast place. They have one of their breakfast meals comes with creton, and I always fucking get it. I love it.
Fucking doors are like 1 inch of solid hardwood. Doorhouse would stop at J-Dam. Don't let the doors hit you on the way out.
Yeah, I'd be confused about how I got out of it. If I went over there for a party and I got drunk, I wouldn't know how to
Yeah,
leave.
you keep trying every
You're like,
part
this
of the
fucking
wall.
door is locked. That's the wall.
No,
Oh,
but I mean, fuck. My old man was Italian. Like, we do blood pudding, man.
ew!
Get
I
it?
thought that was a British thing, blood pudding.
No.
Blood pudding.
Lots of poor people took every part of the animal.
Oh no, it was considered the way you did it, right? What was the other thing? Uh, the Scottish thing, haggis.
Yeah.
I've never had it, but I'd like to try it one day.
Yeah. You just stuff the stomach with what? Oats and barley, right?
Oats and other meats and spices. Yeah,
Well,
I don't think it's just barley. It's not like just porridge.
But that's
but yeah, it's got oats in it for sure.
Yeah. Sure, why not? Like, I mean, fuck. I've eaten tripe. I eat liver.
I'm not a big fan of the organ meats. I will eat liver. I don't like it, but I will eat it because it's so vitamin rich, right?
Yeah. Fry it up with bacon.
Yeah.
Bacon and onions, and yeah, that'll ease your palate.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not a fan of it.
I was thinking, you know what? Like, I love pate. Couldn't I just take duck liver or beef liver or whatever and turn it into pate and put it on crackers?
100%.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And it my God, I go to the grocery store. I look at this price of fucking fast fry steaks now.
Yeah.
They've skyrocketed.
Yeah.
It's like twice as much as it was a year ago. And then I go to the offal.
Yeah.
And there's a package of it's lamb liver, lung, and hearts.
Yeah.
It's like a half a kilo of organ meat.
Yeah.
For $2.50.
Because nobody eats it. Supply and demand, baby.
It's lamb. It's not even like sheep. It's lamb.
Yeah. Baby sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking delicious.
Well, you know what? Like I said, I'm not a big fan of those meats on their own. It's probably a texture thing. I know that some of them can have a bit of a funky smell even when you cook them. So I think I would be okay with turning it into a pate or mixing it in with ground beef to make like a burger or something. But I don't think I could just eat like fucking kidneys and shit. Like that would.
My grandfather, my nono, he had a special treat that my nona, his wife, would make for him on his birthday, and only on his birthday. She'd go out to the butcher shop and she would buy a sheep skull, the whole skull,
like a head,
with the tongue, brain, and eyes in it. And she would season and bake that fucking thing.
No shit, eh?
And she would present him an entire fucking sheep's head. And he'd pluck out eyes and suck the juice out of the eyes, crack a skull open, and just eat brains, which apparently have this like cloud, almost fucking cotton candy texture if cooked correctly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And
sounds satanic.
But he just man was born on a farm in Calabria in 1922.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and they didn't let anything go to waste because you just couldn't. You couldn't afford it. I get it. Yeah, we've been pampered. But you know what? I just saw something show up on my YouTube feed about how lab grown meat is now going to be a thing. They're very close to having lab grown meat. So
look, if it tastes like meat,
well, it will because it's meat. It's meat. It's just they're not killing an animal to do it. They're just culturing cells to make the meat. And
it has the same like protein and fat.
I don't know about the fat, but it probably would, and I'm sure it'll have a slightly different texture. But I mean, it's essentially cow. It's just cloned cow or whatever.
The fat is the good stuff.
Yep.
The fat's the part that makes it taste good and is actually, in particular, if you're trying to do like a low carb diet, you really need the fat.
I was gonna try carnivore, but I decided against it because it'd be too hard on the wife to plan meals and stuff. And we like to eat together, you know what I mean. And she's not gonna eat just meat; it's just gonna be me. So she'd be making meals, and all I'd be eating would be the meat, and she'd be eating the veggies and stuff like that. So I'm back on the intermittent fasting, and it seems to be helping. I look like a fat piece of shit in the video today, but
your lighting is weird.
It's the lighting. Yeah, I'll tell myself that.
No, look, I would never advocate any extreme diet for anyone, and that includes carnivore and vegan. Uh, we are generally speaking omnivores. All right. You look at our teeth, we are built to eat literally everything. Okay. We can crunch fucking tree bark and roots if we have to. And I would never say cut all of this out of your diet entirely, except maybe sugar.
Yeah, sugar's poison.
But for some people, carnivore will work. For some people, vegan will work.
Yeah.
But I would never suggest
I would
any.
do carnivore, but I think it would be too restrictive. I think I would get very tired of eating only eggs and dairy and meat all the
For
time.
the first like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, absolutely. Even if you're one of the few people that can do this and be okay. And the worst problem for you is that to properly eat a carnivore diet, you really need to eat organ meats and various organs.
Yeah. Well, particularly liver, because that's where you're going to get your vitamin C. That's really the only place you're going to get vitamin C.
Oh, yeah. Loaded with vitamin C, enough of your B complex to get you by, and a bunch of A, apparently.
Yeah.
Kidneys are better for A. Never eat a bear kidney. You'll die from vitamin A poisoning.
No shit, eh?
Yeah. Like a bite, you'll survive, but if you tried to eat a whole fucking bear's kidney, yeah, it's no good for you.
So like nutmeg.
Is that a thing?
Nutmeg is poisonous in large enough quantities.
Oh, sure. That's why
if you put nutmeg, like a little bit of nutmeg in cooking, but if you were to take like a teaspoon of nutmeg and like put it in water and drink it, you'll die. It's too much. Yeah, too much nutmeg. You get very sick anyway. You could die. It's a toxin, right? Oh, excuse me.
Okay, this is 100% wrong. 100% wrong, Jeezy. Sorry, man. All right, my family came from a place where there was not enough food, and they had to improvise with what was left over. Like most of the things that we consider to be like, delicacies from this region are actually the poorest people creatively saving stuff that was going to go to waste. Like sangria. Oh, I make a fantastic sangria. It cost $100 to put this together for the barbecue. Sangria is what happens in Spain when the wine from last year didn't come out so good and all this fruit is about to go bad. You dump the fruit in the alcohol because it will prevent it from going bad. And the shitty wine suddenly has some sweet, fruity flavors to it. That's how that comes to be. Like, that all of these dishes made from organ meats, this is actually a crazy thing about back when the church sort of ruled everything. The best cuts of an animal went to the king and the clergy. The next best cuts went to the nobles. The third best cuts went to the merchants, and the last went to the peasants.
So the pig's heads.
But there was what we call the offal, the organ meats, the waste. The peasants would take it rather than throw it away and start making it into different food. And what's really funny is that all the organs of an animal in general weigh about 1/4 of the animal's total weight. So they started calling that, with the 4 classes getting 4/4 of an animal, they started calling the organ meats the 5th quarter. And all of these, like lungs cooked this way and hearts cooked that way, and all these delicacies that come from this are poor people doing the best they could with what they had.
That's like lobster too, right? Lobster was originally the stuff that they fed, like it was stuff that they pulled out of the nets, but they didn't want because it's like a shellfish that's hard to eat. It's, and so it would be poor people who ate lobster. And then they realized, wait a second, with fucking clarified butter, this shit's amazing.
Yeah.
So they started, it became this fancy fucking dish. But
And
for the
again, I
longest
don't.
time, it was garbage. It was garbage food because they're bottom feeders. There was this thing about eating bottom feeders amongst like
Yeah,
the higher ups. They wouldn't eat animals that came from the bottom of the ocean.
yeah, ocean roaches, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're not that
Definitely.
they're not so different from insects except they're crustaceans. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you're aware, Calabria, where my father was born, that's the heel of the boot of Italy.
Oh, okay.
It's a peninsula that juts out into the Mediterranean.
Right.
If it comes out of the sea, we eat it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm probably gonna get used to that because next year we were supposed to go to Greece this past year with my wife and her parents and her
Mhm.
sister and husband. It was all going to be a trip, like a family trip. It was going to be, you know, a celebration of 80th birthday, my 50th birthday, my brother-in-law's 50th birthday. It's going to be a big deal, right?
Yeah,
COVID
yeah.
happened, we didn't go, so we're going to go this coming year, or July, I should say, July of 2022. And we're going to be going to Greece. We're going to be spending a week in Greece, and then a Mediterranean cruise for another week. So I'll be eating lots of seafood, and I don't mind seafood, but there are certain things that I do to shy away from. I don't like urchin. I don't like calamari. I don't like octopus. I don't like invertebrates. So I won't eat invertebrates. It's got to have a skeleton of some sort. So
No, not for me.
yeah, well, that's fine. Each his own. But to me,
I'll eat it.
No. I'll pass on things that don't have skeletons.
No, I'll literally try anything once. And there's very few things that I cannot eat. Only thing off the top of my head, sauerkraut.
Oh, I love
Which is
sauerkraut.
Terrible
weird. I
for a
love
German
that.
Ukrainian on my mom's side. Yeah, like, oh, I cannot do sauerkraut.
Really, on a nice like salty spiced Polish sausage, no sauerkraut. Oh my god!
You don't. Okay, so let me tell you the story. This is my greatest shame as an adult man. It was after Christmas. It was late at night. I went to the fridge to get some leftovers. Grabbed a whole bunch of pierogies. Okay. Went to cut some open. Was eating potato and cheese pierogies, and cut one open and saw it was kraut. It was like, oh no, I don't want to eat that. Wait a minute. No, I'm an adult. I'm a grown man. I just eat what's on my plate. That's how I do.
Right.
Put the fucking kraut pierogi in my mouth, and I literally gagged. And I thought to myself, no, I'm gonna eat this thing. And I chewed it again, and I gagged, and I was like, oh my god,
what is it about sauerkraut you don't like? Is it the
don't
flavor
even
or
know.
the texture or what?
I don't know. I don't know.
It is a strong flavor.
I just couldn't do it.
And you know, it's a fermented cabbage, for crying out loud. So I get it. I understand why people don't like it because it's very strong. It's vinegary, but it's the easiest shit to make. Eh? You just take a bunch of cabbage, chop it up, put it in a jar with salt on top of it, and boom, in a week you've got sauerkraut.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I'm afraid to try kimchi. Right? People are always, oh, kimchi, the Korean.
It's like spicy sauerkraut.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that I won't be able to do it, so I haven't gone that route. But I will try it eventually. But I don't have high hopes for the outcome there.
I probably will. Irish Rose says, try the goat. It is so good. I have no doubt that Greek food in Greece is going to be amazing. I like Greek food here. I love moussaka. It's my favorite Greek dish. But I'm really itching to try it in Greece. And I think I had Duolingo on my phone to learn, what was I learning? I think I was learning German. But I think I'm going to download it again and try Greek. Just so I can have conversations with her family. Because there's some family members that don't speak very good English at all. Should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Your family, the group in Canada, was anything. But you got it. Like, okay, I think I don't know that it's entirely Western because you think about Eastern countries too, like Far East and Middle Eastern countries. They don't make shit. They don't let shit go to waste. I mean, they don't eat
Yeah.
pork, but then they don't eat pork. They don't even do anything with pork, right? So, but the animals they do eat, because you think of the environment that they, their culture came about in, it's very resource poor. So you don't let shit go to waste. I
Yeah.
can't imagine the people who grew up in the Middle East, or cultures that got their start in the Middle East, would be very wasteful with their food either.
Oh my God, Seamus. But no, I don't want to be a dick about it. Like my dad was born on a farm in Calabria, right? Like to a father who had just recently gotten out of the war. Like, do the math. 1922, born on a farm in Calabria. What do you think he was doing in 1940 when he turned 18?
So wait, your grandfather fought in the war in Italy. So he was Axis. He was a Mussolini supporter.
No, he was a conscript. We don't talk about that in my family, but everyone knows, and no one talks about it.
Hey, you
He's
know what?
passed,
Like, that's the
God
thing.
rest his soul.
Here's the thing: if Trudeau had the draft in Canada today, because we were going to go fight, I don't know, America, let's say, I would desert. I would desert and join the U.S. I would, in a fucking heartbeat.
And on my mom's side, right? One side of her family's been
German
here.
Ukrainian.
One side of her family's been here 100 years, right?
Sure, they've been here.
Geez, 120 years. But the other side, well, they escaped before the orchestrated famine in Ukraine
Right.
got them in what's called the Holodomor. Is that how you pronounce
Holodomor,
that?
yeah. Holodomor, yeah.
And then they also escaped because, like fools, in the 1920s, they went to Germany. So they escaped there too.
Wow.
Before they came to Canada. So
see, we've never had that here in the West. Like I say, the West. We never had that here in North America, right? Where people fled.
We're about to.
I think we are. I really do. I think we are. I think you're going to see more balkanization in the United States. People fleeing states for other states. I think you could see a sub nation forming of anti-vaxxers, to use the phrase, to use the meme. But I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see further balkanization in the United States. I think it's going to spill over into Canada. I think Alberta, you were talking, and I think in our last live stream about Alberta just saying F you. And having the power anyway, having the economic wherewithal to say, screw you, we're not part of this shithole place anymore. I don't think they will, but they could. You're right.
They had tumultuous weeks and months there.
Yeah.
Where Kenny was suddenly all for all lockdowns and oh, maybe we should mandate vaccines. He's doubled back on a lot of that. I think for a lot of people, it's too little too late.
Yeah.
And you're going to see things like the Wild Rose Party provincially and the Maverick Party federally are going to get a fuck ton of votes. If they don't get seats or win, they're going to get a lot of votes.
Speaking of votes, so it sounds to me like there's going to be a snap election for September 20th.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And,
do you know who you're going to cast your vote for?
Look, if there's no PPC, what's the word I'm looking for? Candidate in my riding.
Yep.
I'm going to vote for myself with PPC next to it.
There you go.
So
I'm voting Canada Man of the Canada Man Party.
Yeah.
No, I'm voting PPC, of course. Yeah, I'm going to vote PPC.
I don't know.
I told him another part of before the row started, for whatever reason, my father-in-law just said, so you like Aaron O'Toole then, eh? And I'm like, not really. I'm not a fan of him either. Well, who do you like? Maxime Bernier. He's like, oh, God, I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, why? What do you... I didn't push it. I'm like, what's wrong with Maxime Bernier? But my wife said, "No politics. Let's keep politics out of this." So we turned on to something a little bit, less controversial, COVID. But anyway,
Oh, you made me snort. That doesn't happen every time. Yeah, that was good.
Glad I could help there. Yeah, no, I'm voting PPC, but Canada Man Party is going to come to is going to be a reality. So at some point.
Yeah. And hey, when it is, I'll vote for you. My state locked down. I put my stuff in a moving truck and drove 2,000 miles to a place where I wouldn't be a prisoner in my own home. Good for you, Jeezy. Seriously.
What? Where are you from, Jeezy?
I don't know, but like that seems to be the history of my family as well.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why I didn't want to be a dick about it. I really like this guy. Like, he's got good takes. He's got a great sense of humor, and I don't want to be a jerk because, yeah, trust me. I'm pretty sure for the most part we're on the same page.
Michigan to Arizona. Yeah, I was looking at land in Arizona.
Yeah.
I was going to buy 40-something acres in Arizona at one point. And then I'm like,
Arizona, baby. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was northeast Arizona. So it had they had winters. They have winters in northeast Arizona. But I'm a Canadian. I want to stay in Canada if I can. I'd like to save this country and not leave it. But it may reach that point. That's there I have to leave.
My secret cabal, right there at work, it's a conglomerate of people. Like, my cabal is the most diverse, inclusive, and equitable group that you could imagine. That we're in a place called Toronto. That I'm talking to a Jamaican woman with a thick Jamaican accent who says to me, like, I don't like winters. I prefer the summer, but Canada's my country. It's my home. Yeah. And this is where I want to be. And I'm telling her, like, I used to think exactly like you. I used to feel that. I don't feel it anymore.
No.
I just don't. I'm an outcast in my own fucking country.
Well, I mean, we have elections for a reason. This is what my father-in-law said to me. I keep bringing him up. He said, well, if you don't like it, Craig, that's why we have elections. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I'll do my best to vote out the party in power. But my problem is I don't think the Conservatives are any different. I really don't.
Yeah.
They never have been. And I don't think that Aaron O'Toole is a change candidate. I think there's only one change candidate on the federal ticket, and I think that's Maxime Bernier. But the problem is he just doesn't have enough support. But I have one vote. I can't control how other people vote. And I'm certainly not going to get bullied into voting for a Conservative because, well, I'm wasting my vote, or every vote that isn't for the Conservatives is giving one to the Liberals. I'm like, no, I have one vote, and I'm going to vote for the candidate that I support.
So, no knock to Maxime Bernier, Greg Wycliffe, or Kelly Day. David Freiheit is running under the PPC banner.
I know.
They just might get one seat. A guy like that.
That would be great.
That's a guy that can win. He's so congenial. He's got exactly the right credentials, and as far as I can tell, no skeletons, right?
No, he seems like a genuine, just a real kind of salt of the earth kind of guy. Like, he's a family man, likes the outdoors, likes freedom.
Like the kind of crazy idealistic fool who said, I'm going to get into law because I want to do good things.
Like, he's like, I can't do law anymore.
Yeah, no, and he went to YouTube. And now he's going to politics.
Yeah.
Because I want to do good things. And it's like, oh, what you beautiful fool. Go for it. Just chase that fucking dragon, you silly, wonderful.
See, I'd like
beautiful
to get
idiot.
I want to get into politics to tear it down. That's not why I want to get. I don't want to get into politics to do good things. Now, that being said, I think tearing it down is a good thing. You know what platform I would run on? I would run on a platform of repealing Section 1 of the Charter.
Oh.
Removing Section 1 and removing the notwithstanding clause from the Constitution.
Section 1 is the part of our Constitution that makes the rest of our Constitution fucking meaningless.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's
And
worded in such a way that it's open to broad interpretation. It sounds reasonable when you read it
no, it
because, well,
doesn't.
yeah,
It
because the
sounds
government,
like fucking
there may be
ridiculous political
times where
word salad.
laws. No, it sounds reasonable in the sense that there should be laws in place that, or should be a way to pass laws that will restrict certain freedoms in certain situations. Like you break the law, your freedom that's stipulated in the rest of the charter is taken away from you. That makes sense. But the problem is that's not how it's been acted upon, right? And it because it's so broad and open ended, it could be easily interpreted to say when the government feels like it, we can take away your rights and freedoms.
Hold on. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees the rights and freedoms set out in it, subject only to such reasonable limits prescribed by law as can be demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society.
Right.
That it makes all other subsequent rights and freedoms subject to whatever the fuck might be in fashion at the time.
No, that's true. But that's why it's not a charter of rights and freedoms. It should be called a charter of governmental permissions. Because of Section 1. Yeah. That's why I'd say I would repeal Section 1. I would also remove the notwithstanding clause, because the notwithstanding clause is basically carte blanche for the prime minister or whoever to say we're going to have a dictatorship for them till the next election. The notwithstanding clause allows a prime minister or head of a government, like the premier of a province, to say, even though this is unconstitutional and it's blatantly unconstitutional on its face, we're going to institute it, and if you don't like it, you can vote us out of office in 5 years. That's the notwithstanding clause. Yeah, you have the opportunity, and if you don't manage to vote us out in 5 years, well, then obviously people weren't that upset about this passing of this law or the institution of this decree. This is the notwithstanding clause, and this doesn't belong in what should be a democracy or a free country.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and this is you were mentioning before about like vote splitting.
Yeah,
and the if you don't vote for Aaron O'Toole, then that you might as well vote for Trudeau. It's like, hold on. Vote splitting is a myth. It is a complete lie. That, you're telling me that if I don't vote the way you say, that I'm going to get something I don't like. And you know what? Here's the way I look at it is Justin Trudeau is a bowl of sauerkraut. Aaron O'Toole is a pierogi filled with sauerkraut. I love pierogies, but you know how I feel now about sauerkraut. So if you tell me my vote for the PPC or whatever party for the Canada Man Party is going to somehow split the vote, it's like, hold on. I don't want the bowl of sauerkraut. I also don't want the pierogi filled with sauerkraut. And the idea that somehow I'm going to split the vote suggests that I owe you my vote. My vote belongs to you.
Yeah.
So that you can have a pierogi filled with sauerkraut, even though you don't want sauerkraut at all. Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the thing that's not cowardly and stupid. And vote for the thing I want. Because you know what the third party is? It's a peanut butter and jam sandwich. Maybe it's not great. Maybe it's not spectacular. But I like PB&J. I'll go with that for now.
You can stomach it at the very least, yeah.
But I can stomach it without gagging. And that's what I'm voting for that.
Your metaphors are so good. They're so good, and they call back to what you said previously about your distaste for sauerkraut. That's perfect.
Because I've been drinking.
There you go. It's the idea of vote splitting is predicated on, just like you said, that your vote is owed to the lesser of two evils in any given system, and that's not how we have a multi-party system in Canada.
It's
We
just
don't. We're not a two-party
right?
system like they have in the United States. So it's nonsense to say, well, you're splitting your vote. No, look, my father-in-law. I keep bringing this fucker up. My father-in-law once said, when in a past election, well, who did you vote for? And Melina, I think, voted Liberal, and I voted Conservative. This is so your votes cancel each other out. And I'm like, well, I don't look at it that way. The Liberals got one vote. The Conservatives got one vote. Yeah, but if you don't vote together, then your vote is basically canceling each other out. The Liberals got one vote. The Conservatives got one vote for my house. I can only control what votes come out of my, come from my fingers on the pencil. Like,
Yeah.
I have no control over what other people do. So the idea that, first off, people didn't talk for the longest time. People wouldn't say who they voted for. That's why it was private. It's none of your fucking business who I voted for. So now that we're in an environment where people are dictating that you need to vote for so-and-so so that we don't have the devil, instead we have a demon, is mind-blowing to me. But then again, we also used to have an entertainment industry that wasn't steeped in politics and overt about people's political opinion. As a matter of fact, back in the day, Orson Welles, Orson or Marlon Brando, I think it was Marlon Brando. He was to receive an award, and instead he sent up this woman who was part of some First Nations or Indian tribe to make some speech about the horrors that have happened to Native Americans, and people thought that was very gauche because the Academy Awards was a place where you did not bring up politics. It was about the industry. It was about entertainment. It was about the craft. And now you can't hold an award ceremony without somebody, raising the Black Power fist or what.
Didn't they have some kind of fucking credo about suspending the real world for just a few hours and just celebrating fun and
yeah, everything's political now, though, right? Everything is political, and politics ruins everything. So there's a couple more comments here. Ford used the notwithstanding. Oh, I'll let you bring them up. Sorry.
No. I mean, you're right. Yeah,
I can't click them, that's all.
Look, Ford is the great betrayer. This man hides behind political bullshit to allow us to be abused.
Yeah.
Like, this is unconstitutional, the vaccine passport, so I'm not going to implement it. I'm going to wait for the federal government to implement something like that, and we'll just go along with it.
Yeah.
What a fucking piece of shit.
See, now that would be an instance where if the federal government mandated something and the premier used the notwithstanding clause to say, fuck the federal government, we're not doing it, that would be an instance I could get on board with. But the notwithstanding clause is still a problem because it means that, it's a double-edged sword, right? It allows a premier to say, we're going to chart our own path like they do in Quebec all the time. But it also means that you can get these rogue premiers doing whatever the fuck they want anytime they want.
Rogue premiers sounds like free state governors to me. And I'm happy to let them do it and tell them to, let them tell the prime minister to fuck off. Well, because we need that. That's exactly what we need.
Right.
And that's why we voted for Doug Ford. And now he's just like, no. As soon as Justin Trudeau says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to fucking lick his balls and asshole.
Yeah.
It's true, but the problem is if you invoke the notwithstanding clause to protect the freedoms of your citizens, of the citizens of your province, that's fine. But if you're invoking the notwithstanding clause to defy the federal government so that you can institute more restrictions on your citizens, that's where I have a problem, right? Where you can say, I'm going to be a rogue premier and become more totalitarian than the Constitution would allow me to be.
And as long as Section 1 exists, there's nothing we can do about any of that.
No, it's true. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Ford either. And you know what? I was saying something about right around the beginning when he started having his, daily press conferences where he would announce a future press conference and to announce when the actual press conference was going to be. Every time he got up in front of those cameras, you look at his face and it's like he's a deer in the headlights. It's like he knows that if he misspeaks and he says the wrong thing, There's some guy up in the fucking rafters with a sniper rifle who's going to put a fucking bullet between his eyes. That's what it seemed like to me. Like he knew that he was up against the ropes and he had to toe a certain line. And if he didn't, then that some,
Look,
deep state operative was going to end his career and his life probably. But
yeah, I'm from the neighborhood. They don't have to end his life. I'm from the neighborhood. We all know about the Fords. We all know about the Ford brothers, how they made money, how they got started. And what's terrible is that they got out. They were shitty fucking people who did shitty fucking things. And then they got older, got married, had kids, and they started doing good. Okay? Like, but someone has dirt on him. And he's fucking terrified of the dirt coming out. So he's, instead of doing the good things and saying, the dirt's out there and it's going to come to bite me and I'm going to protect you, he's just reverted back to being a shithead who's just in cahoots with the people with power over him like he used to be.
Yeah.
And, oh, man. It is the betrayal of our time in Ontario that we ousted that Liberal Party that did so much damage over 15 years and finally got someone in who was someone like Trump, someone populist, someone that was going to do right by the people. And now he feels personally threatened, his fortune, his reputation, and he just fucking kowtowed. Oh, and like everything you thought you could do for us, as soon as you thought it would come back to bite you, no, you're just gonna do for yourself and for the goddamn Liberal Party of Canada. Not even for your province, man. Like,
yeah, oh no, I know.
what a fucking horror show.
I mean, here's the thing. It's not surprising to me that politicians take their own interests in mind because everybody at their core is self-interested. You're going to take care of yourself first. So the idea that a politician is magnanimous and is going to act, forthright and take his duty seriously, it's a non-starter for me. There's a few comments coming in now. I don't know if you want to. Uncle Jeezy you put up his one, but then there was another one, democracy to me.
Yeah, no, this one has like a long conversation attached to it.
It's true.
Right? I wanted to try and avoid that so we can just
okay. All right,
not avoid it entirely, but like
notwithstanding clause is the be-all, end-all of government responsibility. The Crown can indemnify itself through proxy by corporate liability. Yep. Or LLC, limited liability corps, which Harper brought in. It's all the shelters through law. Yeah, absolutely. And this is the problem with empowering government to act in such a this is why the libertarians and the people who are small government minded, the minarchists, would have you say, it doesn't matter how bad or how ill-willed a politician is or how inept a politician is, if they don't have the power to do things, they can't do any damage. So the problem is we've given this power to politicians to make these backroom deals, to enact legislation on behalf of lobbyists and corporate donors, and we've given them so much control over every aspect of our life that it's bound to happen. So the answer is, if you make government so small and so ineffectual in day-to-day activity of everyday citizens, then they can't do any worse than some robber baron corporation could do. At the very least, the robber baron corporation has someone to worry about. He's got competitors to worry about. So if there's some robber baron corporation that's fucking over your life, you can always go to another corporation and say, you know what, that guy's a piece of shit. You're going to give me 10 cents off. I'll use you instead. You don't have that with political actors who act on behalf of those people, because they're going to be in power for 5 years. And if they're all like that, it doesn't matter who you put in power, because they're all going to do it. The lobbyists that they cater to might be slightly different, but they're all going to fucking do it. And you can't hold them accountable.
I mean, I saw a meme. I didn't have the picture, but some maybe comedian said, like, what do you call it when the government gets in bed with several multinational, multi-billion-dollar corporations and mandates that the citizens consume the product provided by that corporation, not even pay for it for the people that want it, like taxpayer funded whatever, but
Right.
mandate you take it, that you
Oh,
have
God. That's fascism.
What do you call it? That's called fascism.
That's exactly
Yes.
what it is.
Yes, yeah. That here it is. Here it is. These multi-billion-dollar, multinational pharmaceutical corporations, and now they want passports that we consumed the fucking product. It's fascism. It's literal fascism.
Mhm.
Like, and here's Rose saying, in the US it was Trump was a dictator, and yet Biden is the one doing all dictatorial things.
Yep.
No, he's doing fascist things.
Yep.
Lady, it makes perfect sense.
It's
Because
mass psychosis.
these mass psychosis, and the thing that I've been saying to the people who call themselves anti-fascists and they defend the Antifas, that just means anti-fascists. It's like, if you hate fascists so much, why are you behaving like them?
Well, not only that, ask a fascist to define fascism, and then ask a leftist to define woman. You see like you'll smell wood burning, and you'll see some glazed eyes. It's true, like the whole punch Nazis thing. Everybody was a Nazi. Everybody's a Nazi who doesn't think that kids should be given hormones to change their gender before puberty, and they should be allowed to go on stage and twerk for grown men. If you oppose that, you're a Nazi, right? Anyway.
You hit so many things that just made me angry. Like, oh man, I don't even have kids. Why does that make me so angry? Like,
because you understand the value in preserving some sort of innocence and purity to the youth.
No, it's not intellectual. Okay, it's not at all intellectual. It's instinctual. Adult humans will protect children.
Yeah.
They will grab a child and lift them up. It's not my child. I don't know their parents. I don't see any adults around, but there's a snake and here's a kid. Kid is up in the air and my foot's on a snake. Every person will do this. Every person will do this.
Right.
And like,
the problem is when you're ideologically possessed, you don't have cohesive thoughts about the welfare of children, especially if you're a leftist. I was going to say something I forgot, and I haven't even been drinking.
Because I'm drinking, I got lots of thoughts, and I'll just let it rip if you let me. No, it's my stream. I don't need your permission.
No, yes.
Look, we've come to this place where people are so afraid that they've given up on the concept of principle. They no longer think about what is, I have a principle, and even though I don't like the things that come from that principle, I will defend the principle. They're so afraid that they'll just do whatever they think will assuage their fears.
Yeah,
that they will behave in a way contrary to what might have once been their principles if it makes them feel better now. And
or it makes them feel part of a dominant group, right? If they're on the side of the people who are the dominant force in culture, they feel justified in behaving in all manner. I mean, it's the same thing with the Salem witch trials. The same thing with crucifying anybody who disagrees.
But
I think a lot of people
hold
don't
on.
even. It's not even a matter of principles. They're just so easily convinced that the dominant group is in the right because they're the dominant group, and therefore I need to be on their side.
I think that's only possible when everyone is terrified. The way that we talked about this video of the mass psychosis,
Yeah.
and the the killing of freedom, that if you get enough people afraid, they'll abandon principle.
Yeah.
And the more people that abandon principle, suddenly that's where we run into this idea that many philosophers from thousands of years ago,
Mhm.
and more recently, hundreds and 50, 70 years ago, talked about like fear as the motivator.
Mhm.
And when fear becomes your motivating premise, you've forgotten your principles and you can just abandon them, because all the only thing that concerns you as an animal, because we are animals, right? Look at a deer, right? A twig snaps in the woods, it runs. Headlights, it does nothing. And if the fear response to what's happening is a twig, it'll run. But if the fear response is this blinding light that comes out of nowhere, they will just stand there and wait for someone to save them or die. And
There's a there. I used to go when I went to high school. This is a long time ago. We're talking, well, a long time ago. I had a politics course in high school. My politics teacher was named Mr. Keys. He was this big, burly Irishman with a ruddy complexion because he loved the drink, and he was an ardent trade unionist. He worked
man
for,
after
he
my
worked,
own heart.
He worked at the Ford truck plant in Oakville for years before he became a teacher. Anyway, he in his classroom he had all these little like posters on the wall that he'd pull out of magazines or gotten offline. Or not offline. He'd gotten them somewhere from wherever, probably Board of Education. I don't know. But anyway, he had all these posters, and a couple of them stuck out to me. One of which was, most people would rather die than think. In fact, most do. And it's true. It's true. People won't think about things. They'll die before they think about things.
Yeah.
There was a couple of other ones. It was about capital punishment. Why do we kill people? To show people that killing people is wrong. That one's, not bad.
Hey, I'm against the death penalty.
Same.
Reasons I'm against abortion.
I'm pro-life, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, but yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's depressing, and it's part of the reason why I haven't been uploading recently, because I'm more depressed than I am animated about anything. I'm more, deflated about shit right now than I am invigorated or animated about things. And it's a rut I've got to get out of, because there are things that need to be said, and that's why I appreciate you having me on and giving me this opportunity to go nuts.
Always welcome, man. Let's do this more often. Let's make an effort, really.
Yeah, we should.
Because one of the things that I saw, and I don't have the meme, I don't have it to post, is that the problem with Trudeau is not that he's like a narcissistic, tyrannical, corrupt liar. It's that everybody knows that's what he is,
and nobody
and
cares.
his supporters don't seem to give a shit.
No, they don't. And it's because of the tribalism associated with politics and everyday life.
Well, at least he's not Trump. No, he's so much worse than Trump.
He is. He really is. On every metric, everything you accuse Trump of doing, the people who opposed him
was kind of racist.
Worse.
No, but where he was fighting Stalin and Hitler, like, oh my god, Oh, yeah, no one's perfect. No one's a paragon, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
We got to do the best we can with what we have. And you know what? You know what we should be fighting against? Fascism.
Today and then.
The only way to fight Stan Ulch, thanks for coming, my guy. I'm sorry I haven't hit up some of your comments. I'm getting a little too drunk to really properly read them. Apologies. But no, I know this guy's here for good reasons, for real. But there's real fascism, and then there's what they accuse Trump of doing.
Yeah.
It is such a
I'm trying to think of a world in which Trump would have been better received by the media and by extension the public. If he had run as a Democrat, he would never have won the primary because he wasn't speaking to Democrat values. Even if he was beating every other Democrat primary candidate with his speeches and with his debate performance, he still wouldn't have been the nominee because
DNC
their situation on the Democrat primary side is a coronation. It's not an actual contest.
Yeah. No, DNC fucks over Bernie Sanders every time.
Every time, yeah. Anybody who's going up against their chosen one is gonna lose. But I'm just trying, like, what could he have done to have received support from the media and from mainly the media and the people at large? I think the thing that did him in was his comment about Mexicans. I think if he never said that, or if he'd worded it differently,
said what? Hold on.
You know what I'm talking about.
No, because as far as I'm concerned, having seen all of the things that he said leading up to and watching the pulled out clips, he never said whatever they tried to say he said.
His quote is it's out there, but the problem is it's interpreted selectively. He was speaking specifically about illegal immigrants, but the way in which he worded it made it sound as though he might have been speaking about all Mexicans.
Is this the quote?
That's how
they're not sending
rapists,
their
they're
best.
sending murderers, and I'm sure some are good people too. But they're not sending their best and brightest. That particular phrase, he shouldn't have worded it that way. But his point was correct about illegal immigrants. Absolutely.
Okay.
Problem is it was very easily manipulated in the public consciousness that he was talking specifically about Mexican people.
Still won the presidency.
He did. You're right. But I think if he had not used that particular phraseology, he might have gone better in public polls, and he might have gone better he might have been treated better by the media. But probably not, because they were all in for Hillary from the very get-go.
Yeah, I mean, Hillary was the worst candidate of
oh no, she was
the Democrats' history.
She absolutely was, but it was her turn. She took a step back in 2008 against Barack Obama. She stood back on the understanding that she would be the nominee in 2016. And that's how Barack Obama won the primary and the presidency.
Yeah. Because they needed a token black, and nobody understands that.
No, I don't even think it was that. I think it was because they knew that he could move the new world order forward better than Hillary could. That Hillary had too many adversaries, and this was the perfect charismatic individual to move the new world order forward. And he was fully on board with doing it.
I agree with that as well, but also because he was a token black, that's why that was also that's why that all came together.
Absolutely, his race had something to do with it. It was time for a black president, absolutely. But it was also because he had basically put himself out there to the people, the real power brokers in Washington, that he was their guy to move the agenda forward. Hillary had too much baggage. Hillary was too divisive a character.
Yeah, I
And so
mean,
and she would not have been able to move, and she was going to be too self-interested. She was going to be doing it for her own enrichment, less than for ideological reasons, less than, any plans of the world power brokers.
and I just, man, it's so weird that so many people on the left, if a black person is Republican or libertarian conservative, that the left decries them as race traitors and starts shouting,
Uncle
uh,
Tom.
Uncle Tom, yeah, all the racists like Coon,
Yep.
like, and it's just the Democrats, the left have been always throughout history the party of racism,
Yeah.
right? They're the party of slavery, they're the party of segregation, they're the party that fought against the civil rights movement. And then they spent a decade or two refining their techniques and started calling the Republicans racist. And where they used to, the Democrat Party, go out into black communities and fight them, oppress them, burn them down. Tulsa and Rosewood in particular, they bring those up a lot in the BLM movement and don't understand that the Democrats did this. Like, this was the left wing party, right? That the left wing mayor and the left wing governor sent the troops into those towns to burn them down.
Yep.
But spent now a couple of decades refining their techniques so they no longer go into those towns and burn them down. They just convince the people of those towns, mostly black people,
To
to
burn their own
burn
town.
them down on their behalf.
Yeah. Um,
And they just got
yeah, they've
better
got
at it.
they've got planted agitators in there to get the shit going. Absolutely. Ori Nabisco makes a good point. Yeah, that was a spin. Trump wasn't wrong. He was talking about it. Yes, he was, absolutely. But because he is imprecise in his phrasing, he's not a politician. He speaks from the hip. It could be very easily manipulated. The other president, well, any Democrat would have won again after Bush. You're probably right, but if you remember, McCain was also very, very popular at the time, and it would have. I think it would have been tougher for Hillary to win. She probably still would have won, but again, I don't think that the people in behind the scenes who are going to put forward the next president wanted her as much as they wanted someone like Barack Obama, who they could basically make him do what they wanted to. She's too much of a shark, and she would have gotten her own agenda better than Obama. Also, they probably saw Obama winning, plus, at the state level and in the House and the Senate, them having a better chance with Obama to make gains and get their agenda pushed forward than with Hillary. But I could be completely wrong. Not an American. Don't know. But you're right. Democrat would have won, whether it was Hillary or Barack. But I think it would have been a tougher road to hoe if it was Hillary against McCain in 2008.
Yeah, probably. It would have been tighter.
Yeah.
But I mean, now here we are, and apparently none of this fight mattered. None of it came down to anything because every nation is having vaccine passports or talking about them. And my political pundits, my right-wing political pundits on the radio, are not railing against the idea of vaccine passports.
With the exception of a few, political actors like Rand Paul.
No, sorry, not American politicians. In Canada, I go to work and go home, and I have very little life outside of that.
Yeah.
And my right-wing people that I managed to hear for 20 minutes one way and back, they're all like, oh, vaccine passports are coming. So we have to be careful about how it's gonna affect privacy and whether or not this is gonna be effective. What? No, this is not a thing. You have to be railing against it, or you're not my friend anymore.
Yeah. No, you know what I think it comes down to in Canada in particular? Well, I've always said this about conservatism. Conservatism is a defensive game. Conservatism is a defensive position. You're pushing back against progressives who want to change things for the sake of change in a lot of cases. So conservatives have a hard battle already because they never speak or they never try and put forward anything new or different. They just want to say, well, no, hold on there, not so fast. But also, I think conservatives in Canada in particular have basically given up on the fact that they can fight for their principles. They're like, we're just going to have to try and make concessions and make it not hurt so bad. That's what it comes down to, right? So we'll try and make as few concessions as possible. Even if Aaron O'Toole got in, you would never see a conservative resurgence in terms of policy and positioning.
Yeah.
Aaron O'Toole is not going to bring back a conservative policy platform to Canada. It'll just be less liberal. That's it.
And that's why I've said here, I'm going to prison. I will. It's gonna happen.
At least jail.
No,
you'll probably go to jail, and they'll probably won't press charges, so you'll probably get out.
We'll see, but that's what you have to do.
No, it's true.
If you're properly putting your principles first and letting other people do their worst and be their horrible tyrannical selves, if you don't have the numbers to enforce freedom, you just have to walk free till they fucking beat you down and send you to the gulag.
Stand by the river of truth like a tree and say, no, you move.
No, you move. And they'll move.
Or they'll come at you with an axe and chop you down like a tree.
Yep. And I'll accept all of that too.
Well, I wish you best of luck in your defiance of the corporate mandate for vaccine passports, vaccination proof. I think in the long run in the court, you will win because it's unconstitutional.
They'll let me out when I'm 60.
What's that?
They'll let me out when I'm 60.
No, they're not going to put you in prison because you won't be violating anything criminal. First off, there's no law. It's just a public policy. Yet. It's just a company policy. But ultimately, they may fire you. At which point, you can sue for wrongful dismissal, and hopefully, you can get a decent lawyer who's freedom-minded, who will take the case pro bono and take it all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada. Because ultimately, Viva Fry, maybe, because ultimately, it's a constitutional question, right? Can they fire you for not undergoing a medical procedure? No, they can't.
We'll see, because they can apparently alter any law for any reason based on Section 1.
No, but this isn't a law. This would be a company policy, right?
No, the government would mandate the law, and
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
The idea that everyone must be vaccinated. Yeah, they can't force that either because there are people who cannot be vaccinated. And your medical decisions, despite the fact that we have a socialized healthcare system, are still between you and your doctor. So,
maybe.
And your doctor can't even mandate, like my doctor recommended I get the vaccine, which is why I got vaccinated. But your doctor can't even dictate that you get the vaccine. He can recommend you get the vaccine. Do you think Bernier will win any seats or get more votes this time? I think he'll get more votes. If he wins a seat, I think it's going to be in Quebec with David Freihag. He's probably the only. Yeah. He's got enough of a presence online. He's not a huge YouTuber, but he does have a lot of support. He's very vocal and he's very passionate, and He's very well spoken as well. And
And
like you
he's
said,
going to
I
go
don't
door
think
to door, and
he
he's
will go
going
to
to
the
do a
door. And
great
he's
job.
also, you look when he does his Viva on the street, he's popular in his neighborhood.
Yep.
People in the neighborhood know who he is because he's on YouTube, and all of his
Yes.
kids are friends with people who watch him on YouTube, and so.
Yeah. And I'm with him. I'm for him, man. I hope he's the one seat that we get.
Yeah, that's true. The surest way to work up a crusade in favor of some good cause is to promise people they will have a chance at maltreating someone, to be able to destroy it with good conscience. Yeah, that's true.
To
What
be
was
able to, well, hold on. To be able to behave badly and call your bad behavior righteous indignation. This is the height of psychological luxury, the most delicious of moral treats. That's Aldous Huxley. I'm very familiar with this quote.
Yeah, he put the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah. All it takes is are you a weak person? We're going to give you the opportunity to
be
act
strong.
like you're strong.
Yep, it's true. And I'm getting really, really sick of seeing some people on social media talking about basically shitting on other people for their own personal choices and feeling righteous about it.
Look, how many times have you seen something like, oh, don't get the shot, get shot? They've been posting this bullshit.
Don't get the shot, get shot.
Yep.
So if you don't get the shot, we're going to shoot you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus
No,
fucking
these
Christ.
people, and they think they're the good guys.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is I've got a young man, 20 years my junior, at work. Okay. Good guy. Busts his ass. I love him. He's a history buff. He loves historical context, and he is enthralled with dictators. He loves the concept of like riding their rise to power and seeing how they manipulated everyone and managed to become these dictators and have supreme power over everyone. So he's the only one that understands the joke that while we're talking in historical context and modern politics, when I say to him, you want to know how you get right-wing death squads? Keep fucking pushing me.
Oh shit. Yeah, no, it's really strange to see people who I would consider mild-mannered post shit on social media. I mean, here's the thing: posting shit on social media takes so little thought or effort that it's not surprising that you're going to see people post something that is truly horrendous without giving it much thought. They're just like, yeah, that aligns with my particular political point of view at this point in time, so I'm going to post it. I'm not going to think about exactly what it says. I'm not going to think about the implications of that mindset, but I'm going to post it because I think it's rather clever, or I think it's it's pithy, or what have you.
No, but why?
Why?
Why? Because fear.
Well,
And I'm
yeah.
posting the thing that I think will alleviate my fear right now.
Yeah. Well,
That's
again,
why.
and it makes me
That's
feel
the
righteous.
whole of their argument.
Yep.
There's
It
no
makes
principle.
them
There's
feel
no
righteous.
value. It's based on I'm terrified, and how do I need you to behave to assuage my fears? That's it. That's all of their argument. That's all of their life.
Yeah.
And we live in this weird society where we don't have to get up at 4 a.m. to milk cows, and our lives aren't physically hard. We don't till fields, most of us. And yeah. All we have now, based on, oh, I went to school today, so I did work, and now I get to eat. Oh, but I'm disconnected from my body so much that, yeah, I'm so afraid of a virus that's got a 99.9% chance of not killing me
Yeah.
that I'm going to tell you, you had better get a vaccine. You had better put this thing in your body or else.
Yep. It comes down to the two types of people in the world. You know the two types.
MYOB or there ought to be a law.
That's right. Mind
Yeah.
your own fucking business, or there ought to be a law. You're either one of those two people. You're the type of person who leans towards there ought to be a law, and you want to restrict what other people do, or you're the type of person who says mind your own fucking business. And people will say, well, yeah, but the COVID is everybody's business because we're all susceptible to it. No, my health is my business. This is another thing I said to my father-in-law. You are responsible for your health. I am responsible for my health. I'm not giving you anything. You're catching a virus. If you get sick, it's because you caught it. It's not because I gave it to you.
400 years ago, there was a whole new world to escape. Now there's maybe Alberta, Texas, Florida. There's fewer and fewer places.
It's true.
Jeezy might be right about his crazy, if I don't agree with it or I don't want to agree with it. Monarchy, communism, fascism are all the same concept. Maybe he's right. Maybe humans are not ready for self-preservation. Maybe they're not ready for self-continuation. Maybe they crave and desire, humans in general. You and I don't. And that's why we find it so weird. But maybe the animal of human is all very much, oh, Big Daddy state, Big Daddy alpha male, protect us.
So what you're saying is Loki was right. We'd much rather be ruled than be free.
Yeah, and you know what? That old man who stood up and got
not by guys like you.
And that's I'm gonna be that guy. I want to be that guy more than I want to be any other person in that film. I don't want to be Hawkeye. I don't want to be Captain America. I want to be the old man who stands up to the god and says,
not by men like you.
Fuck you. Smite me.
Yeah.
Because if you don't smite me, you're gonna be sorry.
And I'll be that guy who jumps in with his shield to stop the blast from Loki's rod. And except the shield's gonna have a big maple leaf on the front of it.
Here's something I had a thought about. That you can't sully my freedom. You can only sully your own. That if you put a gun to my head and say, obey me, or I'll pull the trigger. I have that opportunity to say, fuck you, shoot me.
Yep.
And now, if you want things to go what you think is your way, you must obey me and do what I told you to do. You have to be slave to me for this moment.
Yep.
And I die free and you murder me as my slave. You have to obey me.
Or not.
Well, but if you don't, now you've joined me. But let's not get too mathematical here.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, though. You would rather live on your feet than die on your knees.
Yeah. And
or no,
I think that's
no. You'd rather die on your feet than live on your knees. That's what I meant to say. Derp.
Okay.
And I'm not even drinking,
But that's it. I don't obey you. In the end, even if I die, even if I go to the gulag, it's because I told you, take me to the gulag, execute me. Those are your options. I gave those options to you because I'm a free person, and you can fight me, you can imprison me, and you can execute me, but it's all on my terms. I set the terms because I'm a free person.
I agree. I agree. But I'll still stand in front of you with a shield, even if it's only made from a sled.
I'd rather not die, thank you.
I'll still get my Canada Man shield and put it in front of that blast of cosmic energy, and it won't stop anything because it's not made from vibranium. It's made from a sled.
And it's easier for me. I don't have kids or a wife or something to do, right? But for those of you with kids, do you want them to grow up in that world? Do you want them to be the slaves of the world you left behind? Because, like, look at that movie, The Patriot, right? Mel Gibson's character didn't want to engage, and he tried not to, and yet his kids got shot. Right? You engage now or you engage later, but you know what? They're coming for you. That's not going to fucking stop. They're coming for you.
Matt C has a question that I think bears an answer from each of us. Hey, I like your logo there, Matt C. You can join the Canada Man party. How long do you think this shit will go on? Do you think COVID-19 will ever end, or are we going to be in this bullshit 5 years down the road? That depends on what happens politically. If given all indications, this will never end. It will exist in some form, one way or the other. Our freedoms aren't coming back unless we take them back, and we need to do that politically first. And the hope is that we can. I don't know when it's going to happen, but yeah, 5 years or more, if they can, as long as they can get away with it, they're going to continue to do it. Absolutely. I told my friends a year ago that the masks, we're going to be wearing masks next year, and they said, no. Nope. Next year we're going to be wearing masks, and now here we are, coming up on 2 years, and we're still wearing masks.
We're going to be having masks and multiple vaccinations and boosters. And Matt C, look, if you don't fight against it now, you're going to need a booster and a vaccine passport for the rest of your fucking life. Our prime minister has ordered 400 million shots. That's not a conspiracy theory. That is common knowledge. 400 million doses of vaccines.
That's just his inventory requirement for the New World Order for the.
That's 10 times the population.
Yeah, but the thing is, every nation who's in on the Great Reset and the New World Order is gotta have a certain stockpile to help with vaccinating other members of the world. And since Justin is like Justin is Klaus Schwab's, little butt boy, he's like, yeah, I'll take 400,000.
I need a whole bunch of fucking shaving foam to mask my face. Like, no. It will never end until we stand up as a unit, as a whole fucking nation. That Canada will not do. They won't. We're done. I'm out. I've lost faith in this nation. We will not oppose this. They will not oppose this. I'm not with them anymore. I'm some other person. I am a displaced person in a country in which I was born. I have to escape or I will suffer. It's over. It's over here.
Look who's in the chat, Irving.
Greg, oh.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
knows. He knows too. He's with us,
Yep.
man. Yeah, no, he's so disillusioned. I love this guy. And you know what? Yeah, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to say Craig and Greg are my brothers. And yeah, no, these are my blood brothers, and I have to get them opportunities to come to the US. Yeah.
I'll come to the U.S. I don't
Come
think I'm going to
escape
live
with
there.
us.
I'm not going to live there anytime soon, but I will come visit you in Odessa if you move to
Jesus.
Odessa.
Come visit and claim asylum.
There you go. I seek
Yeah,
political
like,
asylum from the dictatorship that is in Canada. That is Canada.
I know you'll miss your wife, but you'll be better off.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
I wouldn't go without her. She'd have to come with me. I might drag her kicking and screaming, and she'd be complaining the entire time. Why did we move to Florida? We could have gone to Disney World. But yeah, it's good to see you, Greg. Good. Thanks for coming by.
Absolutely.
We've got an actual legit YouTuber coming into your stream.
We are legit YouTubers. We do this hardcore. We have for a long time.
It's true. I'm thinking like sub-wise, right? Like we got
No.
sub
I don't
1,000.
give a shit about subs. I give a shit about. You know what? I really like this guy. He's very cool. He's very good. I like him.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Greg Wycliffe is. If you haven't seen his channel, if you're in the chat and you haven't seen his channel, Greg Wycliffe's channel is worth checking out.
Like, he either shows up when I'm blindly drunk, or he jumps into our streams until I'm so drunk I don't know we went off stream. That's yeah. That's my entire repertoire with this man. But yeah, fuck. Okay. We hit the 2-hour 20 mark.
Yep.
It's probably time to call it.
Yeah, you're getting pretty sloppy there, Irving.
I've had too many drinks. I'm gonna have more. You and I can sit down and just catch up a bit.
Yeah,
and
for
also we'll send Greg Wycliffe just so we can hop in and say hello.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
we're going offline now.
Thanks, everyone. You can check out my channel. It's all older content. I haven't uploaded since July 1st, but I'm here on YouTube. You just click on my face and you'll find it.
Neither. But I had that weird flurry. And yeah, so thanks, guys. And follow Craig. Follow Greg Wycliffe. Follow Kelly Day. Follow Maxime Bernier if you don't know who that is. Am I missing anything?
No, I think you covered it. There's Ben Tomlinson as well. I think he's still on YouTube. I think he uploaded.
Oh yeah, I know. He actually put out a video recently.
Yeah.
Very good stuff. Guy's got a great, like, he's a little bit Canadian and slightly boring and slow. Styx Hexenhammer, but that's Ben Tomlinson.
Kind of boring and slow. Nice. I'm sure.
No, yeah, no, because he's
that's
too.
a great endorsement of the guy. No, he's got a good channel too. He's got a good channel.
Styx, his whole thing is coffee and being wired. Ben Tomlinson is like, I am so relaxed and chill.
Yeah, he's very low key, but he's got a good channel. He's worth checking out.
Yeah. But we're good now.
I think we're good.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Good day, everybody.
Peace out and broadcast.